What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and it is no secret that the cast of The Rings of Power have been giving some of the most cringe-worthy interviews I have ever seen in my life, but this latest interview might just be the best one yet. So Vietnam vet and Owen Arthur sat down for an interview, and it is complete comedy gold. Sophia starts going on a little woke rant, and you could look at Owen's face and tell that he is physically doing everything he can not to roll his eyes in the back of his head and to burst out in laughter. Let's just go ahead and hop right into the interview.
Much the same, echoing Owen. I had a loose introduction to the films many moons ago.
Sorry, I know we're only 2 seconds into the clip, but I already have some thoughts. What in the hell is a loose introduction? I mean, really ask yourself that question. It sounds like another one of those buzzwords. Loose introduction means that you basically know nothing about Tolkien or the Lord of the Rings. You may know that it exists, but you know nothing about it. I hate how they create these new words and they try to use these phrases to make it seem and sound better, but loose introduction, you basically have no idea what you're talking about, and this is a nice way to say it.
Ago, little did I know that they were seeds that were planted, but of course suddenly I find myself in New Zealand playing the first female dwarf and immersing myself in the world of Middle-earth in such an extraordinary way, with so many resources, texts and scholars surrounding me.
Hold on 1 second. You want me to believe that you had all of these texts and scholars surrounding you with all of this Tolkien information, yet no one enlightened you to the fact that you aren't the first female dwarf? What is it with these woke SJWs? They feel as if they always have to be the first person to do this and the first person of color to do that. You're not even the first dwarf of color, which is what she goes on to say in other interviews. We all know the guy from Friday did it better. Yet here she is going on this spiel, and it's just a gigantic word salad. And it's getting uncomfortable. Look at the guy sitting next to her. I have never in my life seen someone look so on edge and uncomfortable in an interview. You could tell that he doesn't even like her. He probably knows that this is all bogus BS, but he wants to keep his job, so he's not going to say anything. But you cannot tell me that visibly, it is right there on his face that he is not happy being here and that he thinks that everything she is saying is complete BS, and it's just all over his face. I don't know if this guy is an actor, but if he is, he's not a good actor at all, because he's not covering up the fact that he just looks absolutely disgusted by everything she's saying.
Suddenly, it was like food to the soul. And of course, now a huge fan of the incredible Tolkien.
So the dude is like over here trying not to roll his eyes. He's picking earwax out of his ears. Someone get this guy a Q-tip. Get him something to distract him from the fact that someone is going on a woke spiel right next to him. And I don't even think he really wants a part of it. Maybe deep down he's not with all of this madness. But ladies and gentlemen, this isn't even the worst of it. It gets so much worse. How, you ask? Well, let's just go ahead and take a look.
What I would love is for everybody to come on the journey where those two worlds collide, and where we don't change anything, but we interpret everything in this incredible, unique way.
I'm sorry, but does anyone else find it kind of ironic when she says that they're not going to change anything? Even though her being casted in this show changes literally everything. Her very existence in this show should show everyone that they are changing Tolkien's lore. So I find that very ironic. And then she goes on to say that they are interpreting things in this unique way. We all know what that means. That means you're taking Tolkien's story, you're taking his lore, you're taking this history, and you're injecting it with woke SJW politics. It's always the same thing. Whenever they say, oh, this is a reimagining, oh, this is a unique interpretation, there's nothing reimagined or unique about it. It's just SJW nonsense, woke nonsense pumped into the show. We're going to have to get a bunch of diversity hires. We're going to have to preach to you about how strong women are. We're going to have to talk about how POCs have been left out of Middle Earth. We're going to have to make it about this and about this. We all get it. We already know. As soon as this woman said, this is a unique interpretation, bam, you already know what it was. Because we've seen these exact words used time and time again. This is a modern day retelling. Modern day meaning that you're going to inject it with a bunch of current day woke politics and you're going to act as if this is some unique story. No, you're ruining everything that has ever been created for the sole purpose of getting across the message. And it's getting so tiring. But of course, this isn't all she has to say. And I just feel bad for the guy next to her because he is literally he is disgusted by all of this. And you can see it on his face. But let's go ahead and listen.
Unique way. It means absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film and television industry. To be doing something of this scale and to be positioned, as Princess Disa, as a woman of colour, as a mother, is exactly what our industry and what this incredible piece of television needs.
This interview is absolutely pathetic. It has nothing to do with the TV show. This woman hasn't talked about the TV show at all. She hasn't talked about Tolkien at all. All we hear is woman of color, woman of color. If I had a freaking dime for every time someone says woman of color in this show or in these interviews, I would be a millionaire right now. It's especially special for all people of color and women of color everywhere. I'm looking around and where are all the people of color who are excited for the Lord of the Rings Amazon show? No one. Nowhere. No one's excited for the show. It's not like people of color all around the world are getting up. Yes, this is all what we needed. Hey, black female dwarf in Lord of the Rings. Now we know that the world is a better place. No. No one wanted this. No one's asking for this. This is not a historical moment like she's trying to make it out to be. As if she's like Martin Luther King or something because she's the first black woman of color dwarf. What in the hell? And then she goes so far as that this is what Tolkien needed. This is what Tolkien needs. He needs more women of color. What? How dare you literally dig up someone's work that's been dead for years, worked in just stories that have been here since the beginning of our time, at least. Most of us watching this video. I don't remember a day of life where the Lord of the Rings didn't exist. It existed before I existed. And I don't think that we should tamper with people's work who are no longer here anymore. Now, if Tolkien was still here and he said that, hey, I want to put women of color all in my stories and shows, then okay, that's Tolkien. But he's gone. You need to respect the work that he left behind, not modernize it, not inject it with more people of color because this is what Tolkien needs. No, you just try to be as faithful to the source material as possible. There's nothing wrong about that. There's nothing phobic or ist about that. Yet if you just want someone to stick true to the source material, they will call you out your names. They will label you the worst things in the world. And then you have to watch these interviews with these cast members. And, it's blatantly obvious that they don't care about Tolkien. They don't even care about this own show. The only thing they care about is the diversity and how they're the first woman of color. And I'm the first man of color and the first elf of color. And we're going to have the first lesbian elf and the first trans hobbit. That's basically what the show is going to be. By season 3, we will have trans hobbits. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. If this show is allowed to go on, it will only get worse and cringier by the season. They're just testing the waters right now. They want to see how woke they can go with this so they can double down and even go even woker in the future. And it's blatantly obvious that this cast, or at least this woman, she has to be one of the worst. Because everything she says out her mouth is nothing but SJW nonsense. Every single interview she's done, I've had to watch at least a half a dozen interviews with this woman. She's never talking about her character. She's never talking about Tolkien's lore. She's never talking about anything other than the SJW talking points. Women of color, strong women, I'm a mother. Just shut up, please, for the love of God. Shut up. You are digging this show a bigger and bigger hole. And the funny part is the guy next to her knows it. He's sitting there like, it's painful for him to sit there. And part of me believes that maybe he is somewhat of a Tolkien fan, or at the very least he knows this isn't how you sell a TV show. You don't get on here and preach to people about how the film industry needs to be more progressive. This basically all she said is, this is a unique interpretation of the show in which we have a lot of people of color. It's all... I'm sorry. Okay, if you tried to sell me a show and was like, hey, we have a lot of white people in this show. There's so many white people in this show. Please come watch it. Oh, white people are here and white people are there. And now we got more white people. Come watch this show. It's so important. I wouldn't want to watch it. You cannot market a show to me based on people's race that are in the show. You're not going to be like, hey, come over here and watch this Asian show. There's Chinese people everywhere in this show. You should watch this show. Like, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. If you're not going to market the show and make me actually want to watch it, then why should I watch it? They're not advertising the show. They're advertising their SJW politics. It's been all over every single interview. There's nothing about Tolkien. There's nothing about the story in this actual show. It's all about the diversity. It's all about how this is progressive and we're progressing. We need to progress in the movie industry. More fat women, dwarves of color everywhere, please. Like, oh my God, freaking shut up. Please shut up.
Television needs. Everyone was cast because they were the absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is an honor.
You see the end now. She has to state that everyone was casted because they were the best parts for their roles. They were the best person for their roles. It's not true. You wouldn't have to say that unless you knew inside that it wasn't true. That right there was a sign that she is insecure in her role. She knows damn good and well the only reason she's in the show is because of this woke movement. And that's why instead of talking about the show, instead of talking about the character, she just goes ahead and hits every single woke SJW talking point that she possibly can in under 1 minute, because she knows it's the only way that she will ever remain relevant in Hollywood. I don't know this woman. I don't want to sit here and say that she's not talented, but at the very least, I am not interested in seeing anything that she ever does in her life because of interviews like this. It's clear as day where her mind is, and she's even going so far as to like, yeah, this is what Tolkien needed. We needed to inject all of this stuff into Tolkien's world to make it a better world. And then when she's like, oh, everyone was casted in this role because they were the best person for this role. And you can see the guy next to her like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that right there now. You know, guys, like the dudes, it's like almost tiring watching the guy next to her, because you know he is like, it's taking every fiber of his being just to sit there and just to not roll his eyes and bust out laughing and just to leave that interview. I kind of feel bad for him. I kind of want to look this dude up and see what else he's done in his life, because maybe I'll support his career. I damn sure ain't supporting this woman's career because she doesn't care about Tolkien. I mean, at the very least, if you're casted in this role, I'm not going to hate on you for taking a job. Yeah, you shouldn't be in this part. Yeah, maybe there is something to say about, hey, maybe if you know you're a diversity hire, maybe you should turn down those jobs because these people don't really care about you. They're just trying to fill quotas. But hey, get your money. I can't hate on someone for signing on for a movie or a TV show role because people need money to survive. But at the very least, try to embrace that role. Try to embrace the world that you're about to be in, instead of looking so hard on how you can change it, how you can modernize it. You know what I mean? Like, I would not be so harsh on these cast members, if they all came in and genuinely seemed excited to be in the Lord of the Rings, and they genuinely seemed like they were trying to understand the lore and all of the backstory to their characters and to the world that they're going to be within. But they haven't been humble at all about being in the show. It's all been this. It's all been rants about being activist, about being political activist, about how I'm a strong woman with agency, and oh, I'm the first strong woman ever on screen, and now I'm the first POC woman of color on screen, and it's just they're just vomiting woke nonsense out their mouths, and I just don't understand how they think this is selling the show. Who in their right mind would think that someone's going to sit down and watch these interviews and be like, man, I can't wait for the Rings of Power? Who? Other than political activists and weirdos, no one is excited for this because they're going out of their way to make you not excited. Even if I had some hope, even a slight sliver of hope and excitement for the show, it constantly gets, swatted away every time they do one of these interviews. They're not doing themselves any justice. They're not helping anything. They're only making things worse. But I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all on the next video.